Today we need to settle the fight between Vlookup versus Xlookup. Once I've shown you the Xlookup function, I'm certain that you will never ever in your life use the Vlookup function again. Unfortunately, the Xlookup function is only available in Office 365 and 365 online. So if you do have Office 2016 or 2019, I would suggest you immediately sign up for the 365 version and download that onto your laptop or PC or computer, because it is the greatest and the best version of Excel out there at the moment. And once you sign up in South Africa, it is round about 120 Rand per month for the whole Office range of products. What is nice about it, it is automatically updated with the latest and greatest formulas, and trust me, there are a few on their way that you would not like to miss out on. So let's then have a look at the old-fashioned Vlookup and why it would not be the best version to use. So what I have in front of me is I've got data. I've got here a data set which will include the employee ID, name, SSN number, region, department, and earnings. So what I would like to do is at the top here, I would like to type in, for example, E002, and then automatically Excel must find for me Shannon Lee for the name, for the SSS number, this specific number, for the region South, for the department accounts, and for the earnings 80,000 Rand. So what I need to do is I need to create a Vlookup in each of these cells at the top. Now let's start with the Vlookup. We go Vlookup. Now Vlookup needs the following from you. It needs the value that you're going to look up. It needs the table of where the set or the data set is, and the column number you're interested in. So for example, if I'm looking for the name, I would be interested in column 2 in the data set or the table array. If I'm looking for SSN, I need column 3. So beforehand, you need to know the actual column where the value is that you are looking up. So if you look at the example on screen, you might say that's easy, I've got 6 columns. But what if you've got 180 columns and you're looking at column 125? So you physically have to find the column and to determine the number before the Vlookup will work. So let's do the first one. We're going to say I'm looking for this value, comma. Where am I looking for it? Where is the total data set? So I select the data. You can include the headers if you want, but you don't have to, comma, and then I need to specify the column that I'm interested in. Because I'm looking at name, I'm looking at column 2, and I need to specify the word false, because false will give me an exact match of what I'm looking for. If I enter, I do find Shannon Lee. Brilliant. If I go there and I say I'm looking for E005, it will find Roger Williams. Perfect. Now before I copy this formula across, I need to fix certain values in the formula. What I mean by fix is I have to change them from a relative value to an absolute value. For example, the E7 should stay the same for all the Vlookup formulas. The data range should stay the same as well. And the only thing that needs to change when I copy this formula across is the number 2, because that would change to 3, 4, 5, etc. So how do I make a relative value an absolute value? I do press my F4 key on my keyboard. It adds those dollar signs at the front. That means if I copy that across, E7 will stay E7 in all the formulas. I need to do it for the data range as well. Select the range F4 and it will fix or make it change it from a relative to an absolute value. So I enter, I click inside, and I copy it across. At this stage the answer will be the same, because if I double click there, you will see I'm looking at column 2. If I double click in that formula, I'm looking at value 2, and so forth. So I double click on this and I'm editing this, and the SSS is in 3. Double click here, that would be 4. Double click, that would be 5. Double click, and that would be 6. It's working perfectly. I can test it. I can say let's go 1 again, and I find Malcolm. I find that specific SSN, it's just the formatting that's different. I find East, I find Human Resources, and I find 73,500. Perfect. It's working, not a problem. The other issue with Vlookup is this employee ID number, or whatever I'm looking or searching for, has to be in the first column of the data set. It cannot be in the middle or at the end. It has to be the first column. So for example, if the employee ID was situated here in column G, I would not have been able to look up anything to the left of it using the Vlookup formula. The other important thing here is if I add any column in between, the Vlookup formula will also not work anymore, because remember, in these Vlookups, these column numbers are hard coded. I type them in when I create the formula. So for example, that's 3. If I insert a column here, that would automatically change to 4 or 5 or 6 depending on how far that column moves across. So let's see what happens. Let's say I go to column H and I insert a column. You can now immediately see that these Vlookups are incorrect now. It's giving me the wrong information because those column numbers have actually changed. So yes, that is why you would not be using the Vlookup in the future anymore. First of all, because whatever you're looking for has to be in the first column, and the fact that if you insert columns into your data set, these column numbers will move or change, and therefore the Vlookup formula would not give you the correct information. Now let's go to Xlookup and test that and see how easy it is and how much better it is to rather use Xlookup than Vlookup. So what I'm going to do now is I'm first going to insert a column here just to make it interesting. I'm going to move my employee column. I'm going to cut it, Control X, going to put it in there. I'm going to move it there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this whole data range to the left, that it just aligns. So now you can see the employee ID that I'm going to use to look up is not the first column anymore. I'm going to delete these column numbers because I'm not going to need them anymore for the Xlookup. So let's see how the Xlookup formula works. I'm just copying or moving these across as well, just to clean up the sheet. There we go. So now I'm going to use Xlookup. Xlookup is still going to ask me, what am I looking for? I'm going to say I'm looking for that. Now it's going to ask me, where do I find that? And I can specify any column or range now. Doesn't have to be the first one. So I'm going to tell Excel that employee ID you will find somewhere here, comma. Since I'm looking for name, I can just select the range where the names are and close my bracket. I don't need to specify anything else. Don't have to do the false anymore. It will by default find the exact match. Let's see what happens. There we go. Perfect. Not an issue. It works the first time around. I looked up something that was to the left of the employee ID, and it worked perfectly. So let's try the SSN number. I'm going to say Xlookup. Once again, find this where, find it here, comma, now I'm interested in this column. Close the bracket. Perfect. Let's try it again. Find this where, find it here, comma, and now I'm interested in this. Important to remember that the number of rows here must be the same as the number of rows here. So it has to be an exact match in the sense of if your employee IDs is 10 rows, whatever you're looking for must be 10 rows as well. So let's do department. I'm going Xlookup. I'm going to say, find this. My mistake. Find this, comma, find it where, there, comma, return anything in here. You can see the sizes of these two boxes are exactly the same. I'm going to do it for earnings. Once again, find this where, find it there, comma, and I'm interested in this information. Perfect. So first of all, I solved or resolved the issue by hard coding the column number in the Xlookup, because now I only specify the specific ranges. I was also able to look up something to the left of my employee ID. And let's see now if I insert a column anywhere. I insert, and I'm still getting the SSN, I'm still getting the region, I'm still getting the accounts department, I'm still getting the earnings. So guys, this is not rocket science. You have to move from Vlookup to Xlookup. And remember, as I've said at the start of this recording, is that Xlookup is only available in Office 365. And please, at the bottom of this video, click the like button and please subscribe. It only helps people finding my channel on YouTube and finding all these brilliant tips and tricks.